Good almost afternoon. Thought I'd pop on here while I had time today to talk about day 34 on the 40-day prosperity plan. Only 6 days left, and yeah, let me just read the statement and give you my short take on it this morning. I've got stuff climbing in my bag. See my consciousness of my God self, the Christ within as my source. I draw into my mind and feeling nature the very substance of spirit. This substance is my supply. Thus, my consciousness of the presence of God within me is my supply. Through my consciousness of my God self, the Christ within, as my source, I draw into my mind and feeling nature the very substance of spirit. This substance is my supply. Thus, my consciousness of the presence of God within me is my supply. So let me apologize first for sometimes the sound quality, which is really weird because not the sound quality of the traffic. Because whenever I do a video or go live or do something else, like my iPods sound fine. I'm not sure why they always sound wonky on Facebook Live. It's really weird. So I apologize for that. Okay, so the statement for today, understanding that, see, it totally threw me off my train of thought. So sorry, I'm going to have to pull it out again because I need to gather my thoughts. Gather my thoughts. Okay. Through my consciousness of my God self, the Christ within, as my source, I draw into my mind and feeling nature the very substance of spirit. This substance is my supply. Thus, my consciousness of the presence of God within me is my supply. As I weave through New York City traffic. So this presence is my supply. Therefore, it is the supply of everything that I need, all of my abundance and so forth and so on. And it's funny because it ties into this thought that I was just having as I was walking down the street that life right now feels very quiet. It's not just because why does there happen to be all the noise today? It's it's not just because we are going into the winter, but I also notice for me it feels very quiet and there's a sense of emotional sobriety that I've been experiencing. And I think when you fully begin to acknowledge that this source, this all providing lavish abundant energy is the thing that you are and is the thing that fuels your life, your emotional state begins to shift. Your need for excitement begins to shift. Your need for constant outside stimulation begins to shift because you needed all of that in order to boost you. You needed all of that in order to energize you. You needed all of that in order to feel alive. But when you really embody the understanding that you are this never ending, you are this never ending source. You are a piece. You are a piece of this never ending source of lavish, unfailing abundance that is infinite in its energetic supply. And you just happen to have all of that coursing through you packaged in this human form. You don't need all of the external. You watch TV a little less. You scroll through social media a little less. You have meaningless conversation a little less. You have a focus because you realize that this energy, this creative mind is here to do some shit. And it's not just for, did you hear or I heard? It's not to look into the pain and misery of others so that you can feel better about your own life. You're here to allow this energy to express through you in the most full, authentic way it possibly can. And so you really begin to encounter this type of emotional sobriety where it almost seems like it wants to be boring. It almost seems like there's nothing going on because there's not all of this outward movement or push or external stimulus, but yet you still feel like so much is happening. And there is a level of contentment and peace that just enters and takes over your world because you're, like we say in statement 10, you're like, you're in this world, but you're not of it. And so really embodying that, really understanding that this energy is the source of your supply, this energy is that runs through you, is all you need, then the noise and chatter start to fall away, and there starts to be just this inner peace and this inner quiet. Your time is just utilized differently. And that's what I found has been happening with me lately. There's just less need to be consumed or involved in a lot that's happening, you know, less need for me to just be on. Nah. And my energy is good, like it's flowing, I get up early. I'm much more productive. It's crazy how that works. I don't worry about how my time is spent. It all just seems to get spent the way it needs to. Through my consciousness of my God self, the Christ within as my source. Sorry for the earrings clanging too. I draw into my mind and feeling nature the very substance of spirit. This substance is my supply. Thus, my consciousness of the presence of God within me is my supply. Through your consciousness of your God self, the Christ within as your source, you draw into your mind and feeling nature the very substance of spirit. This substance is your supply. Thus, your consciousness of the presence of source energy within you is your supply. That's your supply. You don't need to be amped up by what's happening on the news. You don't need to be amped up by the latest gossip or drama with your friend who's going through the umpteenth breakup. You don't need to be amped up by, the latest tragedy. You don't need to be amped up by what some celebrity is doing. You don't need that as your source to fuel you. You might not even need coffee as your source to fuel you after this. Ha! Maybe. I don't know. All right, that's it. Day 34. We have 6 more days to go. And then after this, I'm not really doing live streams too much. I'm learning how to do it via my website. So if you're going to want to keep up with me that way, because I will be, once I figure it out doing it there, join the mailing list. Join the mailing list. Um, CentralEnergyAlchemy.com. Yeah. Love you all. Bye.